morning, Tony Virtue speaking, Virtue and Partners with our regular monthly update, and Merry Christmas to you. Quite a rally on the markets over the last few weeks again. What's driving this? Probably the impending US tax cuts. It is significant, and that will probably have a roll-on effect around the world. They'll probably end up repatriating some of the money from overseas as well back into the US. So all of these things are sort of tailwinds, and that's a good thing. So at the end of the day, if companies are making greater amount of money that they can keep, they could either distribute that back into dividends or reinvest. The corollary of that, of course, is that the tax take is down, and the government will need, in the US I'm talking now, will need to work out how to fund services or take on further debt. But that will have a knock-on effect globally, as we're witnessing at the moment. What I've gone on to look at is the actual movement in the markets, and really again defined by what they call these FANGs. There's a graph there showing how Facebook, which overnight again surprised the market on the upside, the Apples, the Amazons, these are significant businesses. The question is, do we get to a level of saturation where there's just nothing more that can be put onto these websites? Do we get to a stage like the TVs where in the early days we watched it verbatim, and then we started cutting back our usage and started talking to people again? I think there is a bit of a trend out there to actually getting our lives back away from our mobile phones. So I want to see how that plays out. But that certainly has been the major moving in the market, and you can see from the second graph now that these are the largest companies in the world. They've got a global reach, and their business model is such that they can add new clients without much cost, and that's a good business to be in. Domestic data, we've had a pretty good run. GDP yesterday came out at 2.8 for the year. Probably the concerning thing is consumer spending. So business is certainly spending at the moment. The issue is really, are consumers confident enough to spend? I have a theory which is that you can actually buy things cheaper at the moment. So they're actually still consuming the same amount of unit goods, it's just they're buying better and buying cheaper. That said, we'll see how Amazon go coming into the market down here. Looking around Pitt Street Mall at the moment, it does look busy. They are looking like they've got a pretty strong Christmas ahead of them. Those of you following the property market with interest, it does look like it's stabilised here in Sydney. On balance, that's a good thing. On balance, that means less likely to lift interest rates. There's been a lot of borrowing to buy into property, and if rates were to rise, that will cause quite a lot of stress in the outer suburbs of both Sydney and Melbourne there. So the Reserve Bank left the rates at the same 1.5 for 15 months earlier this week. I don't see a lot of change there. So all in all, it's looking reasonably like that Goldilocks environment at the moment, not too hot, not too cold. Let's just see how that continues. We have a client function coming up next week. Hopefully you've had your invites. Down in beautiful Manly at the surf club, at the skiff club rather. The weather being absolutely beautiful today. So I look forward to seeing many of you at that function. So that's all for this year. Happy Christmas and a peaceful New Year.